Hey everyone, we're back for another edition of the Bleed Lows podcast, Carne, Asada. We have a jam-packed show today. The Dodgers salvaged the series against the Cardinals. All-star voting season has started, and we are on the brink of a Dodgers-Padres showdown. All that and more coming up next. What's up, everyone? I am Drea. I am joined today by Anthony and producer Roger. This episode is brought to you by DodgersBeat.com. Stay up to date and in the know with all of the latest and most comprehensive coverage of the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's your one stop for articles, interviews, contests, merch, and more. Never miss a beat and check out DodgersBeat.com. What's up, fellas? How are we doing?
Doing good, a lot better. Past week, both rough. I was sick basically the entire week, and the Dodgers kind of playing up and down didn't help either. So,
Damn. Hell yeah. You too, Raj?
Yeah, seems like it's been a minute since we got together, huh? Lots been going on, so ready to kind of get it all wrapped up and get us caught up on everything.
Yeah, it's been a minute and it feels like a lot has happened since we last spoke. There was a Yankee series, there was a Met series, and we just wrapped up a Cardinal series. And I think I would describe it as a roller coaster. It's just been up and down. There's been walk-offs, there's been 10th innings. I felt like a lot of just what's going to happen. This could go either way. But just to recap the Yankee series, we did win that series. So out of 3 games, we took 2. We split a 4-game series with the Mets. And unfortunately, we did not win the series against the Cardinals, but we were able to at least get our win today. And there was a lot of good that we can take away from that game because I think we should start off with Kershaw. What did we think about him today? I was so excited to see him dominating.
the word that comes to mind is vintage. He looked like his old self. I kind of worried because the game being so early and kind of throws you off. Getaway day as well too, coming back to the West Coast. Kind of worried for it would throw him off, but no, he was out there, kind of just played his game, played it right, which is vintage Kershaw basically.
Yes. Perfect word.
Yeah, it was good to see him out there. You know, after his first couple of starts, his first couple of starts weren't horrible, right? They were kind of seems like he's kind of just getting, his feet back under him. And today he went out there and pitched like we know he's capable of pitching. And, hopefully that's a good sign going forward. He did get 7 strikeouts towards that 3,000 total. So what's it like at 17?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see him just go out there and do what we know he's capable of doing. And definitely, to help that rotation. He went 5 today. Like I said, hoping still can get maybe another inning out of him, get into the 7th, hopefully. But we'll take what he did today. Definitely a good step forward. Good to see, and hopefully he can continue doing that in his next start.
Yeah, I was excited to see the strikeout numbers go up, and I was trying to kind of calculate in my head about if he were to stay on this pace, like when would we see that 3,000? So kind of like take the next few weeks. Do we think we can see it in the next 3 series? Would it take like 4 series? When do you think we might get that? Could it be in July, August? What do you guys think?
The optimistic point of view is that he goes out there and just like throws. He's dominant and strikes 17 guys out. That's the optimistic point of view. The realistic point of view, probably in July, more realistically, because he's kind of been up and down. Like today, he had 7 strikeouts, but a few starts ago, he only had like 2 or 3. So it's kind of hard to like kind of guess where he's at. So optimistically, I would love for him to go out there and just punch 17 dudes out, kind of get it over with. But realistically, I think maybe early July is when he's going to hit that milestone.
Yeah, I think that's realistic is probably safer. But my fear is that we won't get to see it at Dodger Stadium. So there's a part of me that hopes that as we kind of can pinpoint it down a little more, that we're able to get to be fans and see it live, because that's, I think, the thing that we'll always remember if we get to be in the stadium, or anyone who's really a Dodger fan will remember what that's like. Because, like I think you said before, Anthony, the Dodgers will make that special for him, or they'll take that moment and make it personal to him. So I think that'll be exciting.
I mean, if he can get 6, at least 6 in each next 3 starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'd get him over the hump. But yeah, I mean, you figure he's gonna start let's see, he pitched today in St. Louis. His next start will probably be at home against the Giants. And then from there, probably the Nationals at home. And then they go on the road to Colorado and Kansas City, which probably would be Kansas City would be his third start from now. So if you average 6, you're looking at probably around in that Kansas City series. So, we'd miss that at home, but like you said, we don't know. I mean, today, he got 7 strikeouts, but prior to that, he hadn't been getting that number. So we'll see. We'll see if he can continue with that, or if he just gets a couple here and there, might go into July, like Anthony was saying.
Yeah, I just hope whichever stadium does get him that they respect him, because I was noticing, if you guys caught it right before the game, they played like a little montage on, I guess it was a player named Matt Adams from the 2014 NLDS. They showed a thing about Kershaw. He hit a home run off Kershaw, and kind of in a way to mock him right before his start today. And I kind of was reminded that both the Padres and the Diamondbacks, before their kind of crash and burn, they both did things to Kershaw, and I think it kind of led to some bad karma for them, because I don't know if you remember, the Padres put up that crying meme of Kershaw, and then they went on a streak of bad luck after that. And I think there was a time when the Arizona Diamondbacks were selling like a really sad Kershaw picture in their gift shop, and they had a fall off. And I had a feeling that I think the baseball gods favor Kershaw, and I think when you go against him, your luck is bad. So if you're an opposing team, word to the wise, don't be mean to Kershaw, because the gods, the baseball gods, do love him. And he called it Bush League. I think there was a post-game presser today that they asked him about that, and he kind of said that that's not very cool. But he's Kershaw. He's a professional. He's been through 18 years. He knows the ups and the downs. But I thought it was really cool to see Kershaw today just be himself, the Kershaw that we love. So that was super fun. But we had right before that some highs and some lows. Did you guys catch those innings? We had like the 10th. We went into the 10th inning a couple times against the Mets. I was so happy when we came off the Yankee series, but when we played the Mets, I almost was a little more scared of them. Did you see kind of like a little more like the Dodgers not playing to their full potential against the Mets? Because I even saw them playing flip cups, or the video of them. I think the Mets were disrespecting the Dodgers a little bit, thinking that they were just gonna have their way with them. What do you guys think of that series?
Yeah, I came up back from the Mets series more concerned about us, just because like we were so non-competitive in like 2 of those games. Basically, Pete Alonso dominated one game. He basically won that game for them, and then the other game, the offense has been struggling the past like 2 weeks, basically. Essentially, it wasn't just the Mets series, because they also struggled in this Cardinals series. And this is coming off that 18-run like explosion against the Yankees. So I kind of figured like, oh, they finally figured something out on offense. And sure enough, they haven't figured anything out on offense. So like I really didn't take it as like disrespect from the Mets, because like the Mets are going to be an opponent that we're going to have to face eventually again in October, I feel like. So it's just a way for them to pass the time. I really didn't make anything of it. If anything, it kind of kept me entertained, because the game was like really such a dull watch from the Dodger point of view. So I really didn't make anything of that little moment. I feel more like the Dodgers have a lot more to worry about offensively than the guys on the other side flipping a bottle. So so that's where I'm coming from. Like I was more worried about them offensively, because the pitching kind of held like form, apart from like maybe Gonsolin. We'll talk to him about him a little later on maybe, but I felt like we kind of held our own, and like they gave them a chance to win those games, and the offense just kind of came out flat multiple times throughout that series. So we'll see. I think we kind of got lucky too in that extra inning game, because Freeman's homer, or not homer, it looked like it was going to be a homer,
right?
But, like it kind of died out in the track, so I can see how like Nimmo lost the ball, because he probably thought that ball was going like 30 rows back. So we kind of got lucky to win that game. So. I'm just kind of glad that we were able to kind of like split the series with it. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been in that kind of same boat with obviously the pitching's hurt on the Dodgers side. So, it sucks to see that right now, because the pitching's down. You're hoping that they could get back on track, and then the hitting stops hitting. So it's like you figure, okay, that's your strength right there, and then you get your guys that they don't do anything. We saw it that Mets series. We saw it, going into this Cardinals series. The first two games they didn't score until like the ninth inning of the second game, and I think it was on a pass ball or wild pitch. So you don't expect that from this lineup, right? When you have Batson, Freeman, and Ohtani in that lineup. Teoscar's been in a big slump right now, so hopefully he's going to come out of it. Edmund has been coming out of his. So hopefully things start picking up. I mean, I think definitely going into San Diego, hopefully it's going to amp them up a bit and, kind of get them again in that, kind of that postseason environment. And hopefully, we get a good game. Obviously still worried about the pitching, but hopefully the pitching steps up in that environment. Like we said, we got Dustin May going in that first game. So, he's been pitching better. Hopefully he can go out there and kind of just, keep it a competitive game. We'll see what happens in these 3 games, but Dodgers still are in first place after everything that's gone on, the losses, the bad losses, the games they thought they should have won. They're still in first place. We'll see what happens going into this Padres series, though.
Yeah, that's true. I think that I get a little more hoped because they've been coming back at the end of some of these games where it's like, okay, they're going down kind of early. It's that first inning that usually gets me when we give up runs too early. And I'm like, okay, we're playing from behind again. But we did see, especially I think it was with the Mets when Reed Garrett was on the mound. Reed Garrett is incredible, but there was that weird defensive play the Mets did where we came back off of him. I don't know if you got, it's like they beat themselves and we were
that play the plate.
Yeah, that was a fun play to for us, obviously. Even them, I think they were in shock because we thought they had that game. But that's when I started to kind of liven up, thinking, okay, this is where the Dodgers kind of show they stretch their muscle, even though they make us wait a little bit. But yeah, I think they have I think they're number 1 in the league right now with comeback wins, right? With I want to say it's 21 and 5 walk-offs. Give or take. But yeah, so the Dodgers show that they can fight from behind. I just wish we didn't have to so much, and they could kind of get ahead early on and not, have to put us through all the emotions. But then it does bode well later on when we're in some tough games and the Dodgers know, hey, we've been here before. We can come back. And, they showed it last season at the end, and that's why we won the World Series. So, that's great. It's a great skill to have, but I really hope that we don't have to keep on going through game after game like that. So today was nice. I think we had 4 runs up front and I felt a little better about the game. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see Edmund back in his, with his former team. They received him really well. He drove in 3 runs today. And we just saw some good things. Mookie's hitting again. So I really like that. We kind of saw him kind of here and there, but I feel like the one who had a quiet series was Freddie, but he was coming off a really great May where he was one of the lead on the leaderboard in all MLB. So we have great players. They all kind of, when one drops, another takes over. And so I feel like we're overall in good shape. We just need to really get that pitching in order. And one disappointing thing with the pitching was Gonsolin this week. So now we have, I don't even know what the number is anymore. How many pitchers do we have on the IL? Because I think I need to start a spreadsheet.
I think we're 16, I think, right? The 16 guys on the IL. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know the severity of, they just said elbow discomfort. Okay. I mean, it's a guy coming back from Tommy John. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in the coming days with him. But, yeah, you don't want to see another guy go down, especially when you have so many guys out, right? I mean, from the starting rotation from the beginning of the season, I think Yamamoto's the last guy standing right now. And then but good news is there seems like guys are coming back. I wish it was tomorrow, next coming days, but it's still going to be a while. So they got to battle through this a bit longer. It looks like Emmett Sheehan has been doing pretty good down in his rehab, so he's going to be somebody that they're definitely going to look to get in that rotation once he's ready to go. But that's probably a month away, So, and then there's been good news with Blake Snell. He's going to throw a bullpen in San Diego. What Rocky's been throwing. There was a mix-up with Tyler Glass now. Don't really know what's going on there. Those one day Dave Roberts said, that he kind of said he stopped throwing, but no, he didn't stop throwing. He did a bullpen where he came out still kind of feeling sore. Then Tyler said like, no, I'm feeling good. My arm feels good. I'm still throwing. So we don't know. It remains to be seen with Tyler Glass now. For me, it's kind of like to the point like, you know what? Just kind of keep him at bay for a little bit and kind of get him ramped up in August and get him out there in September. See what it can give you the rest of September going into October. Kind of just go from there and kind of right now the concern is probably just getting Blake Snell out there and getting Roki back out there, and then kind of start getting that rotation filled in, and then with Ohtani probably coming back after the All-Star break. So I think that's probably when we're going to see the bulk of these guys all come back after that All-Star break.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like a little discrepancy in what Glasnow says and what Robert says, because maybe Tyler Glasnow does have such a shaky history in the past with his injuries, and they're maybe trying to save him from himself so he is ready for October? Or is there just kind of like miscommunication going on? Because in a way, I wish they keep that behind closed doors and deal with it behind the scenes, because that did kind of throw people off a little bit, like what's going on, why is one saying this and one saying that, what's happening there? But yeah, it does worry me about Glasnow because he really didn't show too many good. I don't think he showed very many good outings at all. He had, what was it, 3 that he did or 4? I don't recall the exact number, but I was a little bit concerned just overall for this season. And maybe they know a lot of things we don't know, but maybe Glasnow thinks he's more ready than he is, and that's for the reason. I don't know. What do you think, Anthony?
At least it's general. Like I think the term was general body soreness, which is where it left me kind of like, all right, he's kind of just feeling sore all throughout his body. It doesn't hit like his shoulder, his elbow. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, that's it let me like breathe a little bit easier, because I'm like, general body soreness, like I'll have general body soreness basically. So it kind of put me at ease. With Gonsolin, I was reading that his UCL is intact. So thankfully it's not too serious, but again, it's going to be one of those, like, if you start him up and he feels pain again, like what's the issue here? And at least with the bullpen got two arms back, at least Kirby Yates and Michael Kopech back. So that's a big boost for the guys in there, at least to have more arms available. It feels like the bullpen is starting to like get taxed a little bit. So now you have 2 fresh reinforcements in there, at least. In the long term, I'm kind of hoping like July and August is when we get most of these guys back and we start clicking and rolling. I'm more interested to see Blake Snell. I know he's on his way back, but he really didn't look that sharp to start the year. He kind of looked like, I don't want to say sluggish, but it was obvious he was dealing with this injury. So it was kind of just probably pushing his way through. So I kind of interested to see like what he provides and stuff like that. Whether it's going deep into games or kind of just managing games, depending on how he comes back from his rehab and all that. So I'm more interested to see him. And Emmett Sheehan, he was like one of our solid young pieces a few years back. I know people probably remember the last outing that he had that at least I remember was in the playoffs when he came into game 1 when Arizona kind of just jumped Kershaw and he kind of forced him in there. So it's probably a big moment for him, but probably wasn't expecting to be throwing in game 1 that early, at least. So, but leading up to that, the whole year, I was kind of excited to see his progression. He kind of was like fearless with the ball. He kind of just went out there like, this is my mound and I'm going to dominate kind of attitude. So I'm kind of hoping he still has that attitude.
I like that about rookies too. It's like, you think it's almost like they feel like there's a sense of them that they don't know what they don't know in some ways. I mean, they're obviously super talented and they know what they're doing with pitching, but it's like they go out there with the fear, like I can do this. And they go and they dominate. I think we're seeing that with Kasperius. We're seeing that with Dreyer. And I'm almost like excited when I see the rookies, because I feel like there's something in them that is like, go all in and just do it. Well, that's really fun to see. And I did obviously think that, like you said, I thought Blake Snell I'm interested in seeing how he's going to be, because I really thought he was going to be like our workhorse for the year. I think that's a term he used, but I would be happy to sacrifice this time now if it meant that he'll be okay in October. Because I think you guys probably already know, Corbin Burns, right? He was one of the people that was kind of, hey, are we going to get him? Are we going to get Fried? And we ended up getting Snell. And I was a little bit like, gosh, look at how great he's doing with Arizona. And he's, doing amazing. And now he's out. He blew out his elbow this week. And so I think he's going to have Tommy John. So his season is done. And I thought, okay, the Dodgers are thinking 10 steps ahead right now. The front office is like, they're making sure it's like, what do we got to do so we can have all these pieces in place for October? So as anxious as we are, I think there's a master plan in place to make sure that we are best suited for that time. We'll see. I think we just, like you said, Roger, we only have Yamamoto left from the original starting rotation. But the good news, he looked really good yesterday, but then it went back to no run support. Like he was having to, suffer from the early part of the season. But overall, it's really good to see that he's still pitching well. He's still hitting his marks, and he is, there's a lot of confidence in him. So
yeah, I think that's the most frustrating part is the no run support. Like I said, this is the lineup that should be getting you.
Yes.
4 or 5 runs a game, right? And so, I get the rotation is, they're kind of just trying to put it together by Band-Aids right now, and kind of same as last year, right? So even though if you can get these guys to go out there and just kind of keep you in the game, you're figuring this lineup is gonna keep you in games as well, right? By scoring, 4 or 5 runs, but when they get shut down, then it's like, okay, what's going on here? So. Hopefully, like we said, hopefully they get it going, get that lineup kind of, ignited a bit, like I said, right now the guys that are kind of down are, Teoscar, you don't expect him to stay down for too long.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Muncy come around, Edmonds coming around. So let's see what happens in this Padres series. I'm kind of really looking forward to see what's going to happen in this series.
Definitely. I'm also curious about rushing because I know that he came up and he was, I believe fully that he's, ready for the big leagues. They made the right move with bringing him up, and it's so exciting to see him. But I think the concern for a lot of people was that he wasn't going to be playing enough and keeping that consistent at bats, and it might affect his play. And so he's kind of been, not having as many hits and, that offensive, power that we had expected him to have as consistently as we expected him to have it. Do you think that just, he just needs to kind of just in the next month, he just kind of still finding his groove and he'll be okay?
I believe so. I think he's just trying to find his footing here in the major league level. I think his hitting will come to him. It feels like he's also, I hate to use his last name, against him brushing most of his at-bats. It feels like he's kind of pressing and trying to do too much. I feel like with more time and like more just being around the guys up in the major league level, he'll find a swing that works for him, a routine that works for him. So I think you just got to give him more time. I'm not willing to push the panic button on him yet.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think there's panic. It's just the time for him to play. And this is kind of one of the things I didn't really understand by them bringing him up, when they DFA'd like Barnes, because rushing isn't a backup catcher. To me, he's not a backup catcher. So now that's kind of his role. And, now he's in limited playing time, 2, maybe 3 times a week. So it's going to be hard for him to get consistent at bats, if he's just the everyday catcher or a backup catcher. The thing is, where are you going to play him? They had mentioned maybe he'll get in at first if Freddie needs a break. I know a lot of people have mentioned left field, but he's not very good left. He's not a very good left fielder. So I don't think they're really going to put him out there. So it's just, where are they going to put him? You have Will Smith, you have Freddie Freeman if you're going to play him at first. So that's going to be the part I don't understand, where they're going to play him, how they're going to play him to give him consistent at bats. That's going to be what they need to figure out.
Yeah, that's the juggernaut with him, because it's like, I think that he just that's it. It's just time. And you're on this talented Dodgers team where how do you move some of those key pieces? But Conforto, even though he struggles at the plate, he has made some really good defensive plays. So I kind of don't mind him so much in left field as I do when I see him come up. And I found this really interesting, just stat today. He's been hit by a pitch 7 times, and that's been responsible for getting him on base. So I never want a player to be hurt at all, but sometimes I feel like that's one way on for him. But he did have some hits this week, and that was really good. How many home runs is he at? Do you guys recall? Is it 1 or 2?
Ooh,
That's right. I think it's not. I don't know. I don't think he's at 3. But do we still think that he's still going to get the All-Star?
Yeah, he's at 3. Yeah,
3? Oh, he is a 3. Okay. do you think you're still like kind of like playing like the long game with him, checking him out up until the All-Star break, make a decision, or how, kind of seeing what our pieces in place, the pieces that we're going to need at the trade deadline, or do you think he makes it through the whole year? What do you think?
I think they're going to play it to the All-Star break because I don't think they expected Andy Pages resurgence like this.
Yeah.
Like Andy Pages kind of covers a lot of Conforto's inefficiencies, like on the plate. Like when Pages comes up to bat, I get excited because I feel like he's going to do something. So they're kind of just. I feel like Conforto might actually be with the team for the whole year, unless they get like an offer that they can't refuse or like his money works somewhere else. Because Pages resurgence, and I know he's struggling right now. Teo's eventually going to find his bat too. So you have two guys out there in the outfield, and then you have a guy who can rotate out there in Edmonds. So Conforto can kind of just be a bat off the bench, a lefty bat off the bench, if it comes to it. So.
Yeah, no, I actually am really super impressed with Andy Pages because I mean, this is why the Dodgers don't panic. They kind of stick out the long game with their players because they know that while fans may we want DFA everyone when there's a bad game, they know that you wait this out and look what happened with Pages because if fans had their way, they would have got rid of him, in the first few games. Yeah. And look at how he's come around. And I was looking at some comparison numbers with him and Juan Soto, who obviously is getting biggest contract ever in baseball. And not that Juan Soto is a fabulous player, but I don't think he's putting up the numbers that they thought he would put up. It's still very good numbers, but Andy Pages' numbers are comparable to Juan Soto, and we're obviously not paying $765 million for him. So if anything, the Dodgers got an amazing man out there who is a player, like you say, Anthony. When he comes up, I feel a little like, okay, Pages, this is it. He's going to do something here. A lot of times he does. And that's very exciting. But as far as future trade possibilities, even if we think, we need, all this laundry list of people, it's kind of still too early to tell which teams are going to be like, oh, for sure, these are the sellers, these are the buyers. We can kind of take guesses. And I think there was Passan was putting out some, possibilities this week in his article, what, the Dodgers could possibly get. This might be their needs, or this is what all the teams could possibly need. But it's really difficult to know who's going to be available, who's going to actually, make these moves for these people. And I personally, I think it's slim pickings out there so far with the list that I've seen of who's going to get who's going to trade for who. And so I don't know, we might have, some interesting pieces added, but I don't think it's going to be this big, gigantic laundry list of what people think we're going to get. So we'll see. But either way, we have some else really fun stats this week that I was kind of looking at too. We have, I'll start with Kim because you saw him today. Kim got a triple. Will Smith got a triple today. But did you catch it? I think it was a couple series ago, but that incredible game that Kim had where he was like 4 for 4. He had an unassisted double play on his own. He did that incredible throw from the outfield. I mean, I want him to play every day.
So do I. Not alone. So do I.
Right? I mean, just what's your overall take on he needs to be out there because I get disappointed when he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, I feel like he's also the perfect kind of table setter batting in the ninth hole, especially for Ohtani. I just feel like he does have to play every day, and I'm disappointed that he doesn't. More so or less that it's just the offense. He provides offense basically, and he has this spark on the defensive end as well. I came left impressed when he threw Judge out on that play in second base, and then he made that unassisted double play. So I just hate the excuses that are coming, he's going to be on the bench this game. That's already decided an hour after this game, after he completely dominated. That's where we're at mentally. We decided that immediately, and it's I don't know, why didn't they just keep letting him go, let him go, just take the leash off him basically.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen in his role so far, right? He's thriving in that role, and I don't know if that's the case. They're seeing he's thriving in this role. Let's kind of keep him there. But yeah, like you guys said, I'd want to see him play every day. Give him a run of every day and kind of see what he does. I mean, if he continues to thrive, right, you got to keep him there. But obviously, they're probably trying to manage his time as well, kind of when he's up there. But he's kind of shown, hey, I can play, I can do this. The hitting situation from spring training, that obviously is gone. He's out there, he provides the speed. He had triple. He's on defense. He's been really good on defense as well. So I think definitely he's showing that. Yeah, give him a run of everyday play and see how he does. Um, and hopefully he continues to thrive, and he's that spark that offense needs. That the team needs, and you kind of just go from there.
Yeah, I think that he's also someone that I like to see, 'cause he will get on base, and I like to see that Shohei, in my mind, like when I watch him come, I feel like there's just something that activates in Shohei when he sees a runner in scoring position. I mean, it's just good for the overall team. It's good for just, the key that when we have those crazy innings where we just kind of bring in those runs, I feel like he is that spark piece for that. And we're going to see so many good things. And I just don't want to lose that each game, because we're going to go through a series of, this rest of this month of very hard teams that we're going to still have to play. And now we're going to go into the NL West battle. And I want to see Kim in as many games as possible, because that both the Giants and the Padres, they're going to bring everything they have against us in the next couple of weeks. And so I just really hope Kim gets adequate playing time, because I really just love watching him. But Shohei, he has been, he's Shohei. Some days he has, those wonderful, amazing home runs that we all love to see, but then sometimes he gets it done in other ways. But I believe that they kind of had a little switch up with his pitching progression. This week he was going to pitch on, or do a live batters on, I think it was originally Saturday or Sunday, Roger, and then I think they changed it. What did they do? Because I want to know, like, for our viewers, like, when are they going to get to see him do another sim game again?
So originally it was going to be on Saturday, kind of continue on the Saturday, but St. Louis was like rainy and cold on Saturday, plus there were early games Saturday and Sunday. And then they said it was going to happen Monday, and then today I heard them say it's going to happen Tuesday in San Diego. So Tuesday is the next day we should see him throwing out a live BP.
Because I think that's a must-see for media. It's must-see for the people that I know that kind of track him and want to know when he's going to pitch again. I love to tune in and watch him facing batters. So I'm really excited for that, because I think that, post All-Star break, we're going to get our date soon after that of when we're going to see Shohei on the mound. And I am so stoked for that. I think a lot of people are. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I also think that we're just going to see good things overall when they start clicking. Because, when the Dodgers click with, their pitching clicks and it all comes together, I really, truly think they're unbeatable. And the games that we've lost, I just feel like it wasn't because we played our best and just lost. I really think that we were not playing anywhere near our potential. And, we handed the game over. So not to say that other teams aren't good, because they are very good teams out there. But I also think that Dodgers are, I think Dodgers are at the top. And yes, we're going to probably see the teams like the Mets. We're going to see the Phillies. We're going to see, the Padres and all of very similar teams from last year. But I don't think that there's any doubt in my mind that we can go all the way again if all those, the pitching, the relief, and the offense all show up. We got this. So very excited for the second half of the season. We just got to make it through the month, right? But yeah, so fun stuff coming up, but just wanted to kind of get your guys' take on if you saw that fun Shohei, because speaking of Shohei, he had another, I think it was they were doing prank wars with his Porsche and with Dave Roberts, and they're back and forth. Did you catch how fun that was? I think Dave Roberts had created a Porsche with his wife for Shohei's daughter. Did you see that?
I did. It's funny because in the clip, when Shohei first walks into the room, he looks like he's in trouble, because, like, as anyone, like, do you really like being called into your boss's office, even if it's like fun stuff? Like, he even said it himself at the end of the video, like, I thought it was in trouble. So yeah, like, it's funny to see that. And this has been going on since spring training, basically. So it's funny that it's finally like reached this crescendo. And, like, I don't know, maybe if like they win it all, maybe does Shohei actually buy a Porsche? If they do win it all, back-to-backs, kind of way to celebrate it. But yeah, I thought it was a funny little like game they got going on, especially now that this Porsche is actually for Shohei's daughter, so it's gonna be with them basically forever. So it was a fun little thing this week.
Yeah, that sounds like a possibility that this could end with a real Porsche one day for Dave Roberts, but I kind of want them to keep it going on and on a little longer. I think it's really good for social media. I think it's good for us to see Shohei's character because it's hard for me to imagine when Shohei said, "Oh, I thought I was in trouble." Like it's Shohei Ohtani. I mean, what could you ever reprimand him for? He's like the greatest thing ever. But that just shows like his human side and how much we look at him like he's this unicorn, but he's just human like us, and he has all the same emotions we do. And I really think it makes him relatable. So I just thought that was super cute, but very fun. And then we also have some really cool things that are happening. Because obviously, I think Shohei's a shoe in, but All Star voting has started this week. And so make sure that you are logging in, you are voting for our Dodgers because obviously like there's so many potential all-stars that we could have. I probably won't have all of them, but Shohei, Freddie, Tommy Edman, Mookie, Max, Will Smith, Conforto, Pajes, and Teo are, potential all-stars. And I was curious what you guys thought of who you think is an absolute shoe-in and who you think is like the dark horse to get in there.
I think absolute shoe-in would probably be Freddie Freeman. The game's in Atlanta. So it'd be kind of cool for him to like start the All-Star game at first base. And then off the top of my head, Ohtani, yeah, number 2. He'll be the DH. And then from there, Will Smith will probably be like my 3 locks. And then there'd be obviously guys who make the bench, like Mookie probably makes the bench. Pitching-wise, Yamamoto, starter, yeah.
You think starter?
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll start the All-Star game, but he'll be one of the names like starting, not starting, like listed as a starter for the National League side. I don't think he'll pitch in the game. If it lines up, maybe, but he'll be there representing the Dodgers. And I can't think of anyone else because Teoscar's kind of been slumping. Yeah. My prediction of Tommy Edman, it doesn't look good either.
Max, Will Smith, Pajes, maybe?
Pajes could probably sneak his way on there.
Okay.
I can see him sneaking his way into the All-Star team. And then guys in the bullpen, it's kind of like a toss-up. Maybe Kasparius, because he has the numbers for it. And then from there, I think that's probably it. Well, and the coaching staff's going to be there. So
it's Dave Roberts, the manager, right, for the NL side?
Yeah, he'll be the manager.
That's gonna be so fun. I can't wait to find out who starts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Shohei, Freddie, like Anthony was saying. I mean, it seemed early in the season like Edmund was going to head that way, and then Teoscar would be interesting because I think he said he would do or defend his the
Derby.
The Derby. Yeah. But I believe, I know last year he said it if he was in the All-Star game. So I don't know if it's going to be the same thing again this year if he's in the All-Star game. So right now that's not looking too great. So we'll see if he defends in that Derby. But yeah, other than that, probably like I said, Will Smith. And then if you get like Yamamoto, Ben Kasparius definitely has. I think he should. He could. Get some of those player votes in there to get him in there as a pick. To he's been having a really good season for the Dodgers.
I agree.
But yeah, other than that, obviously, you'd like to see your guys go there, but realistically, those are probably the main guys that go. Yeah, I mean, even Mookie, like Mookie might get in because of who Mookie is and the years that he's had, even though he's having a down season compared to what Mookie, but he's still one of the top players in the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mookie's there as well.
Yeah, those are fairly in line with what I think. But yeah, I just wonder because you were mentioning who would be the pitching starter. And I mean, I would think, Yamamoto would have a good shot. I don't know. Or does it look biased if Dave Roberts, because I know the managing staff selects, right? So would it look biased because it's his? Then I thought, okay, well, who else in the NL is a dominant pitcher right now? And I know that Skeens pitched last year, right? He was the starting pitcher for, and he was a rookie. But I don't know, who do you think, if it's not Yamamoto as a starter, who could pitch as the opening starter for the All-Star game. Like, who's dominant right now on our side? I feel like
Before his injury, I would have said Corbin Burns.
yeah, right? Because he was doing really well. I don't know. So I'm kind of curious to see how that all shakes out. I know it's again like I didn't remember that it was in Atlanta, but it's July 11th through the 15th. So that should be a fun week, and I think that that's going to be just well received and well watched because if you guys caught that, I think it was released this past week that viewership for MLB is up on the whole by quite a bit. And I was looking at some numbers and for just MLB in general, if any games on Fox have gone up by 10%, ESPN up by 22%, on TBS 16%, and 69% from that stat in the 18 to 34-year-old demographic. So we have people that are younger that are tuning in to watch baseball. The MLB Network up 13%, MLB TV 27%, and this is a fun one, the NHK, which is Japan, 22%. So I hear, I guess in the past, people like, oh, MLB is dying, or people that don't know baseball that well. It is not dying. And what do you attribute some of that to Shohei or the Japanese market outside of just Japan? Are people just getting more and more interested in baseball? Are they marketing better? What do you think the reason for that jump is overall?
I think it's marketing. There's also a lot of superstar players all over the place. I know, like to say they like to say that the Dodgers have everyone, but no, there's a lot of talent all over the league. Just people don't follow along. Like Paul Skeens is throwing out of his mind in Pittsburgh. That's a small market, Pittsburgh, but those fans are very loyal. Then you guys got guys like in Cincinnati, Ellie De La Cruz. He's an absolute animal. So like you got guys all over basically, and they're not just all here in LA or in New York, taking up all the market. Up in Seattle, because I have family up in Seattle, they have Randy and they have Julio up there. Two stud guys in the outfield, basically, patrolling. They call it the no-fly zone when Julio's playing defense. So I just think it's a very good thing. It also helps that a lot of these moments can be put like on TikToks and on Instagram, and like people can share it, and that starts to gauge interest into the sport. Because I know growing up, at least, baseball really wasn't that cool. But it also was because like it wasn't they weren't allowing players to kind of show their personality. It was kind of like, oh, like you kind of suit up, you can't do this because you're disrespecting your opponent if you do this. And like now, like who cares basically? Like we're here to have fun. This is a kids game. We're talking about basically it's a kids game. Like let's have fun, let's embrace it. A lot of it also has to do probably I know the World Baseball Classic was like 2 years ago, but like we saw how successful that was, and like how people like kind of bought on, and I love what they're doing now. They're kind of like announcing the teams, like who's going to make the team like a year out, to kind of like bring that hype up. So they're not just like pushing it to the side saying like, oh, that was kind of cool like 2 years ago. Like no, like they're trying to make it like, yeah, this is cool, like let's keep it going, like this is awesome, people are watching. That's the most important part. People are watching and are interested in this, so you just kind of want to keep building and building and building. So hopefully this is like a right step forward.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's exactly spot on. I feel like they're building like the hype, they're building the suspense, who's going to be on, what's it going to be like this year, and people are going to for sure tune in. And I have in this, my Dodger fandom just in the last few years, like people that I brought to games that were not baseball fans. I'm like, just come along. Dodger Stadium's so much fun, regardless of if you know baseball or not. And I have been responsible for converting a few people that call me up. It's like, when are we going to our next game? And they actually now are watching baseball regularly. So I think just it's just an amazing sport. When you really know it and you really understand the sport, it's anything but boring. And I think that it's just exciting. So I'm really happy to see that, because I feel like it's only going to keep growing. And like you said, there's so many great players around the league that I respect and admire. It's not always about the Dodgers. And I think that that's something that we just have a lot of years to look forward to, a really dominant, a dominant sport. So super fun. But just exciting things overall like that. So we also have just some fun things that our Dodgers are doing off the field, as we like to talk about. And you guys know Max Muncy is one of my favorite players. I love Max Muncy. I love to see that he's been doing so well over the last, since he got his glasses. He's been, doing great things on the field, but off the field, him and his wife Kelly are going to be hosting an event this coming week on Thursday. and it is called Uncork for a Cause. It's going to be held at the Intercontinental Hotel at 7 p.m. And it is to benefit families that were impacted by the recent wildfires. So if you want to attend an event that's going to be just very beneficial for families who have gone through a lot this year. I believe tickets are $300, and you can go just type in Uncork for a Cause with Max Muncy, and you will get directed to get some tickets for that event this week. So that should be just a very worthwhile cause, because you know that our Dodgers are very charitable and they have their organizations and they always try to kind of give back. So very exciting stuff. But that's it for me. Is there, before we do predictions and get ready for the week, do you guys have anything to add that you want to throw in here?
No, kind of nervous. This is another little rough patch of games we got going up. So.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the Padres since, what was it, the NLDS, right? And that didn't end well for them. And they're full of shenanigans. I got it, and I don't think it's a secret. I've said it on the show. I'm not really a big fan of Machado. Yes, I acknowledge his talent, but I do not like the shenanigans of Tatis and Machado. Profar's not there anymore, but it's just, it kind of just makes my stomach turn sometimes, some of the things the Padres do. And I was like, what are we in for? But we're going to be over at Petco Park, and then they'll be coming to LA the following week. But what are you guys thinking the vibe will be like over at Petco? I know, Roger, you're going to go, right?
Yeah, I hope to be out there a couple of those games. But yeah, I mean, obviously the vibe is going to be, lit. I mean, it's always very passionate fan base that goes out there, very loud. Obviously expect a lot of Dodger fans out there as well, mixed in with the crowd. So, it's a series I'm looking forward to again. But like I said, I mentioned kind of this with the Yankees and Mets. Kind of wish maybe kind of both teams were at full strength, to kind of see where they're at. But it's gonna be tough. I mean, honestly, I think it's gonna be tough. Dodgers may lose that series. Maybe 2-1. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm hoping it's kind of like when we're thinking like the Yankee series, right? They came out hot, and they ended up taking that series. So hopefully, they can repeat that in San Diego and end up taking that series.
What are the pitching matchups? So I know that it's going to be May
Pavetta, and then Dodgers are TBD on the second game because of Gonsolin. So we were kind of discussing that earlier off air. Could be Bobby Miller. I mean, he's kind of lined up for that.
Okay.
So we'll see if they end up calling up Bobby Miller for that start. We'll see. His last start was this past Wednesday, so it kind of be like on 5 days rest, 6 days rest. So
okay,
we'll see. And then the final game. Who was the final game?
Is it Robleski?
Robleski,
yeah.
He wasn't too bad last outing. I mean, he gave up some, but he has moments of.
I mean, but this isn't the rotation you'd be setting up if this was a playoff series, right?
No.
So it remains to be seen what's going to happen. So we'll see. May's been better the last few starts.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what's going on Tuesday. Like I said, but if it's Bobby Miller, we don't know if it'd be him. We don't know what to expect. And then Robleski's kind of, you don't really know what to expect that game either. So, like I said, it could be, it's not the greatest lineup going into that. And then they have Nick Pivetta going to their first game. He's been doing pretty good for them this season. So we'll see.
Well, even if they do beat us, they really dominated us last year in the regular season, and that didn't, translate into because postseason is a whole different beast. So even if it doesn't go our way, it's not like, again, it won't be the same rotation in October that, they're going to see. And it was the same thing with the Mets. I saw some people in the Mets fan base who, Mets, again, very good team. But they're like, okay, this kind of they were saying this kind of shows how we would do against the Dodgers. But then some Mets fans were countering, like, this is not the rotation the Dodgers are going to be going out with in October. So kind of keep that in mind. So I think it's like, don't take it too serious if it doesn't go our way, but I'm still kind of hoping. I'm hoping for 2 out of 3. I'm going to kind of lean that way, just out of hope. I'm not going to ever say sweep again, but I mean, I will go 2 out of 3. Anthony, what do you think it's going to be?
I think 2 out of 3 too. I think we win tomorrow. Even though the matchup probably doesn't favor us because Pavetta's been throwing really well. And I'm confident we win again on Tuesday. The Wednesday game kind of scares me. Getaway day. Driving. Yeah, so day game as well too on a Wednesday. That one kind of scares me. So I'll go.
And the Tuesday game they're facing Cease. So
okay.
I still think we can beat Cease, especially Ohtani. Ohtani sees Cease very, very well. So
okay.
I'm confident we'll go 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, we faced, Max Fried and with that day with the Yankees, and look what we did. So, I mean, it's baseball. We just don't know. We can't predict it because, we never really know with baseball. But I'm feeling like they know what's coming. It's been circled on their calendar. They know that the Padres are going to bring it, and they're going to play to that competition. So that's my hope. We'll see. But then we're also going to, before we talk next, they're going to also see the Giants, and the Giants. I think they played. I want to say it was the Braves this week, right? And the Braves aren't playing. They're not very strong right now, but
I think
very well.
We should. I think we'll probably talk before the Giants series, right?
Well,
we have enough chance. We could.
We will, because I forgot that it was Sunday. Yes. Okay. So we will. So we'll just kind of recap. Our next show will be recapping the Padres series, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Giants. You're right. Very nice. So we'll see how it goes in the next 3 days. But that's pretty much it for us. We're going to see, the NL West, which I have been kind of thinking about for a while, and see how we shape up with them. But it's going to be an interesting week, and I think a lot of our loyal fan base is going to be tuning in closely to the games and just seeing a really good show. But that will do it for us. Just don't forget to check out DodgersBeat.com. We have daily, day in and day out articles. We have the post and pregame. We're going to have some great stuff this week because Roger, you're going to be there at the stadium to see Shohei's pitching. And so just every day there's this new and great stuff for you to keep up with your Dodgers. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and X. You can find me at Instagram at RavineQueen1958. You can find Anthony on X at AnthonyAcosta_. And you can find Roger on X at Los Royers. And just go Dodgers this week. So have a great week.